Okay, I'm gonna do the second car now. So what you want to pull first in the steering column is going to be in this position right there. Pull the bottom bolt. It's the easiest way to do it. Pull this bottom bolt, take the bolt out, and then you're going to go inside and move the steering wheel. So how are you going to remove the steering wheel? Once you have this bolt out, you're going to pull the steering column. Now you're going to have your ignition switch. So you got to turn the ignition switch, turn your keys on, and line up your steering wheel. Pull all the wires around it. Disconnect the wires. You're going to have a clip under there. You just have to a U-clip. You just have to clip it and the whole thing falls apart. 2 12 bolts to remove these bolts from the underneath, and then all the way down on the bottom you pull those 2 bolts. There's a bushing that's going to hold it, a plastic bushing. You just got to pull that. Once you do that, the steering wheel will fall down. When the steering wheel falls down, you just have to go outside and just get a pry bar or something and just knock that, and the whole thing comes apart. Shouldn't take you no more than about 10 minutes to do that. So the bolts, this is the clip that I'm talking about that you're gonna have to pull. There's a screw. There's just 2 little clips under here. You have to get them from the bottom, and there's the bolts down at the bottom there. Those 2 nuts, 2 12 nuts, there they are. And these are the 2 that goes up in the top here. That's it. When you pull the clips, your steering column comes apart. From there, you have a C-clip. Once you pull the, you're going to be able to pull the ignition. All you need is a light screwdriver and a hammer, and tap it and pull the ignition. They go in here. So once you do that, you're going to just slide the whole entire column assembly off. Before you pull this thing apart, there's a C-clip. There's a C-clip right there. You get one of these C-clip pullers, and you pull the C-clip. Once you pull the C-clip, you could pull the steering wheel apart. I'll do that in a second. I'll do that in a second. It's cold in here today. All right, so that's that. Like I said, it's not going to take that long to do this one, now that I know what I'm doing. That's it. There's your C-clip. Pull the C-clip, and then you can use your hammer and pull this thing apart. You know, it's like primitive Pete. Trust me, it's gonna come apart. Not rocket science. That's that. You pull your C-clip and your nut off. And this is less than 20 minutes work. That's it. So this is what you're gonna need. This piece comes apart also. It's got a little bit of dirt on it. Same thing. Here's your steering shaft. This is what you need. What you gotta do now is drill out these two plastic bushings and pull this thing apart. Once you do that, you're gonna need to cut. Yeah, I don't know what you can see here. What I do is just, I cut off a section here because I'm gonna need it. Drill this out. And then you're gonna measure because you're gonna cut this section. Because how this thing works now is here's your pump. It doesn't take that long to do it. So I have two shafts. So this is what I need for the collapsible shaft. So this is your collapsible shaft in here. But you're not going to use this. You're going to replace it with this collapsible shaft here. There it is. So now I plan on doing this. I've got to cut this part off. So you cut off this section here. Once you cut that section off, you're gonna now get this piece, and you want to keep this section because that's your key lock. So how I did it was I cut it about an inch or so, somewhere around here. Maybe an inch and a half is what I used. And then I slipped this portion in there. The shaft is hollow, it's about an inch. So I cut this section off first so that I can use this piece right here and slip it in there. If I'm not mistaken, that's how I did it. All right. So it's gonna go on top of this, I believe. Oh no, wait a second. No, this is the shaft that I'm gonna be using. So I cut this off here. And then I cut this section off, slip this in it, then I weld it. But you gotta make sure it's straight because the bearing, this bearing is gonna be rubbing where the C-clip is. There's a bearing. So when you get it back, this section is going to be in here, like this. It's going to be welded to this, and hopefully you got it straight. And then it'll go up into your collapsible shaft like this. So that's how you get your factory part to put back your cluster back on there. The bottom section, you need a welder. So when I went, I took the whole steering column. One of these, I cut it somewhere around here, and then I put it back, put it right there. So that's how I did it. So once I do that, yeah. So once I did that, yeah, so that's how I got that part. So I put this piece on, put the bolt in, cut the ears off. Then when I cut the D shaft, this is the D shaft here. When I cut the D shaft, I kept an inch on the last one, but I'll put it a little bit longer. I'll put about 1.5 to 2 inches so that it'll straighten the shaft, because this part is going to go down through your firewall into your U-joints. So the length you got to cut now is going to be the distance that goes down to the U-joint. You got to measure all of this, which I have the measurements and everything. You measure it so that you have the correct length of the shaft. That's as difficult as it gets here. So this is your entire shaft here. Your entire shaft is just about 31 inches. So